So Nat and I met in 2014 in Bali, and Nat, you were on a scuba diving course at the time, and we met through a mutual friend.
Yes. Yep.
So
That's
what
it.
were the reasons behind you coming to Bali were?
I'd actually just quit my job. I'd had a pretty bad year. I tried to get back into the corporate world and get what was probably considered and what I thought was acceptable in society as like a serious job. I had been a flight attendant for a while. I loved it, but I kind of had felt pressure from people to go and get a job in a suit because I thought that was sort of responsible.
Yeah.
I did it it was a very stressful job. It was very challenging. I did it for about 8 months, and then I almost had a mental breakdown and I ended up resigning. So I went to Bali just by myself. I booked a holiday over there just to kind of have some time to think about some things. And I went over and did some scuba diving because that's something that is a passion of mine and makes me really happy. So yeah, it was nice. I spent a month over there, and that's where I met you through a mutual friend of ours. And then I had been thinking about getting into the yachting industry. It's something that sort of presented itself to me a few times with just conversations I'd had with people, but I just sort of put it on the back burner. And then I tried out this whole corporate world thing and realized that it was quite soul destroying for me, and realized that I did miss being a flight attendant, but I didn't want to work for the airlines anymore. And I found I was very intrigued by the whole yachting industry.
Okay.
And yeah.
So what intrigued you?
I like being on boats and out on the water. I enjoy being around people and just sort of that type of work environment where I've kind of got a whole mix of different people around me, and an environment that's quite fun, and I can be on my feet and just sort of just be myself and be able to express my own personality. And but yeah, I love the water. I love the ocean. It just sort of made sense for me to give it a go, work on the yachts.
Okay, so after we met in Bali and we had the discussion about getting into the career,
Yeah.
what were your next steps? What did you do to be able to get into the industry?
Yep. So I think one thing that really didn't sit well with me was forking out almost $3,000 to do my STCW course. That was such a big thing, especially because I didn't have a lot of money. And I still was not 100% sure. So I actually started doing some freelancing work around Sydney Harbour on little 30-footer yachts.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I didn't need my STCW, or the captains I worked with didn't seem too concerned about it because the boats were of a certain size and I didn't need it. So yeah, I had one friend who I called, who was a friend of a friend. I just took a chance and gave him a call. And I know that he sort of knows of quite a few people around Sydney, around driving boats and things like that. And I just gave him a call and I just said, listen, I'm thinking about working on boats. This is my experience in hospitality and flight attendant. Really want to work on the boats. Can you, just keep your ear to the ground for me? And I just sort of started, it was summer, so it was busy. Started getting call. I got one call, and then one call led to this captain knowing another captain who might need a stewardess. And eventually I had a fair few captains calling me just to do just temp jobs on the boats that they were driving. So I got to know quite a few captains, other crew members, and even staff at the marina. I got really chatty to the people at the marinas around Sydney. I just realized that it was important for me to network and just get familiar with people around the area. And then I did that for a few months, and then I decided it was definitely what I wanted. It was good for me to have that time to really get a feel for it. And then when I made the decision, I told the captains and whatever that I was working for that if they had heard of any permanent jobs, to think of me. And I got a phone call sometime around Christmas in 2014. So it had only been a few months that I'd been doing this. And I got a phone call and it was a captain offering me a job on a super yacht, 36 meter, and I'd worked with a friend of his. He'd given me really good references, and yeah, I basically got the job offer over the phone.
Brilliant. So it sounds like that journey, I guess, looking for work, you're evidently hardworking, but networking seemed to be very important for you to get to that position. And now in the Mediterranean, the season's kicking off, people are dock walking and trying to look for work. After your experience, what tip could you share with them to help them get insight into how they could get their foot into the door into the industry?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been to the Med and I haven't been to the Caribbean. I've heard that it can be quite disheartening because there's a flood of people that go and are dock walking. But all I can say is that you just need to start. It might be a little bit disheartening to begin with because there'll be a lot of other people in the same position and maybe there's not as many jobs around at the time, but take what you can at the time, maybe, and then work from there. You have to sort of start small and work your way up.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't give up. Just get friendly with people and just talk to people and just chat to everyone around you. And yeah, I think that's probably just given off my experience. Yeah.
And what do you think, well, what would you say your values are? Because I admire the fact that you really put yourself out there and worked on small little boats to get your foot in the door. So what are your values?
I think just bring good energy. Like, is that a value?
Yeah.
Bring good energy.
Yeah.
Be positive, be happy. People want to be around people that are like that. They want to see them again. Just work hard. Always be willing to do, offer to help out, even if you think it might not be in your department. I think that's really important. It just creates good team morale. But yeah, just a happy, positive person that has good energy and is just willing to help out everyone. Yeah, it does a lot for the team.
Yeah, and also I guess his word of mouth, and that's how you got your job, by making a positive impression with the captains and with other crew members, and that's how you got the referral. So that's brilliant. Yeah. So you started your career end of 2014 and now we're 2018. If you could briefly summarize that journey so far. So you started off as a soul stew?
Yeah, so it was deck soul stew. And then I moved into sort of crew cook. But this was a privately owned boat and I was on there for 3 years. So they were amazing owners, and when you get good owners and you've got a good thing going on the boat, the crew are all good, you just don't want to leave because it was really nice. And then I ended up sort of doing cooking for the owner as well and helping out the housekeeper, the residents. About a year after I started working for them, I was just working on the boat, but then they sort of got me to be like their little all-rounder. So I was helping out at the residence in Sydney. I was doing housekeeping, I was ironing, I was dusting, I was doing the gardening, I was doing the maintenance outside. It was basically anything that they needed me to do, I was happy to do. They looked after me and I just made sure that I wasn't above any job that they were asking me to do. And but they treated me well, so I was happy to do that.
Yeah. I love that.
I became their backup flight attendant on their private jet. They had their permanent flight attendant, just in case she got sick or if they were really busy with flights. I stepped in and did a few flights. So yeah, I did that for a few years, and then I decided I wanted to leave Sydney Harbour because I wanted to actually see what all of this overseas yachting was about. I didn't go too far though. I ended up in Fiji. Still one of my most favorite places in the world. I have traveled around, not in this industry before, so I did have, I do have something else to compare it to. But Fiji was definitely, it's definitely my favorite place. So I worked on a boat there. I was second stew on that boat. It was like a 44, 45 meter. It was a private charter boat. Yeah, I worked on that boat. It was a bit of an interesting situation. The boat and the crew and the owner were not very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in this industry, you can get really lucky and get on some really good boats, and you can get really unlucky and you can get on some not so nice boats. I've made a promise to myself that I would stick it out for 6 months, but unfortunately and so I only hung out for 4 months on that boat. And then I decided to have a bit of a break, and I went to Bali and did my dive master internship because I really wanted to get some more tickets or certifications to help the job. Plus I love diving.
Yeah.
So I took some time off and I went and did some diving, and I did like an internship in Bali. So that was pretty intense. I had to work out of a dive shop and pretty much help them. I was the little rookie there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working on my boat that I'm on now. I got a job. It's 27 meter, so it's not very big, but it's still a nice size. And it's a privately owned boat, and it's a lovely owner, and it's lovely, lovely crew. And yeah, I am the sole stew chef now. Sometimes I get out on the deck as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's so much variety. You can never get bored. And
Exactly.
It sounds like you love to really develop your skill set. And so you're putting yourself in different situations and really throwing yourself in the deep end. And I guess that's fantastic because it really makes you an attractive candidate to hire for any future positions in the so that's awesome. Okay, so to wrap it up, what has been your most memorable moment in the industry thus far?
It's hard to say, like I can't really pick like a moment, but I guess cruising around all the remote islands in Fiji, we got to go to some places that you can only get to on a yacht. You can't really get there any other way. So we were in some beautiful places and there was no one else around. We were even able to have our lunch on our lunch breaks. Obviously we were doing 17-hour days, sometimes more, but we got a couple of hours off in between to have a rest or do whatever. And we're in these remote islands. It's hard not to go out for a snorkel or a paddleboard. And so there was a few moments there where I was able to just duck off on my lunch break. Guests were on the boat, but they were being looked after by the other stewardesses, and just go for a snorkel in the most remote place ever and no one else around. They were pretty special moments for me. And then obviously in between guest trips, we got to have some downtime because we've worked so hard. We'd build up some days off in lieu. I did a lot of diving around the islands, scuba diving. And I was even lucky enough to go and do bull shark diving. So I did it four times.
That's so brave.
Yeah. So there's no cage or anything with this.
Gosh.
So you literally will go down diving and they've got the proper shark people who are the experts that are hand feeding these bull sharks. You're just sitting behind these guys. There's no cage. There's nothing there. And we had about 40 bull sharks around us at one point, just like getting tail whipped. And yeah, it was actually really, really fun, really exciting, really safe. I thought it was safe. I felt really safe. So
because you're with experienced people.
Yeah, people think that I'm nuts for doing it, but I did it with actually people from my current boat that I'm on now.
Okay.
I'm on this boat in Fiji. And that's another thing I guess I should mention is I guess it's really important to get out and meet other boats as well, because you just never know what can happen. And it's good to get out and meet people from other boats and do things with other boats, do things with your boat. Of course, it's really important, but just, make friends everywhere. Because you just never know. You never know what can come of it. And I've been so lucky to be on the boat that I'm on now, because that second boat I was on was not a very nice experience. And then, you know, I had met so many other people off other boats in Fiji, and it really helped me get into my next job. So, yeah.
That's a fantastic piece of advice.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a great interview. Thank you so much, Nat. I loved it.